Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we're watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
Steve, welcome to the end of the year.
It's the end of the year as we know it.
It's the end of the world, potentially. So this may be the last year we're ever able to, collectively bring our best and worst in a list before it becomes a nuclear hellscape.
And our last episode before the end of the year, first episode after Christmas. Ben, how's your Christmas?
Good. Short, sweet, like always. Most of my family is in a different state, so I don't have to do the whole rigmarole. It was great. And then I got drunk.
Did you get anything good?
My usual socks and underwear from my aunt. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Because, I toss all my socks and underwear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like I do my laundry and then I throw them in the trash as I'm taking them off. So I don't mix in any of these disgusting year-old things into my fresh, beautiful stuff. Got some money. I got a little power bank to charge my phone. Pretty okay stuff. What about you?
And what else did you get from your good buddy Steve for Christmas?
Is
Me.
it going to Dropout?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know what? Fine. I'm taking your ticket back.
I forgot that was like a Christmas thing. I thought it was just a being nice thing.
It can be both.
Yeah. Yes, we're going to see Dropout in a couple of weeks. It's going to be amazing. Some of our favorite people are going to be there.
Not all of our favorite people. But I'll take some.
But 2 of my top 4. So
yeah.
So we're not going to do any news because it's kind of weird for an end of the year review and next year preview. But there's a lot of news I do want to talk to you. So maybe we'll just do that off air.
Okay.
I need to start off with an apology, Steve.
Time.
Last week we did a This Meets That.
Uh-huh.
And I got on your ass about picking A Star Is Born.
Okay.
I picked E.T.
Uh-huh.
I picked E.T. the last time we did a This Meets That.
2 times in a row.
So I was mocking you for having like months of separation, and I did it in a row. Now, of course, there is a bit of gap in between our episodes of that.
Sure.
So I apologize. But I forgot about it because we did it, and you picked Starship Troopers, and we were like, this sucks. This doesn't work. And so we scrapped it. So I never marked it down on my sheet as being used, thinking, oh, this is a good opportunity. We could use it some other time. But I used it the next week. So I'm sorry, Steve, for being a big old prick.
That's the best Christmas gift I could have asked for. So thank you.
Better than the Mountain Dew can ornament? But speaking of New Year's resolutions, I hear you're giving up the nectar of the gods.
I'm giving up the dew. It's going to be the hardest thing I've ever had to do. It'll pale in comparison to raising my son, because this will be the most challenging thing. I love Mountain Dew. I wish we were sponsored. If we were sponsored, I'd drink it every day on air.
You would have to.
Yeah. No problem. But I'm trying to protect my teeth and my health and, not radiate yellow extreme power liquid,
Got it.
So here's to the new year. We'll see how long I last. I give it 3 weeks.
Because you've done this before and have failed, but you've done a good job of cutting down at times.
Well, there was a good stretch. I don't think I had necessarily quit completely sodas, but for a good while, I wasn't drinking soda hardly ever. This was, I think, in my early to mid 20s. I was just like, yeah, soda's not really my thing. I mean, occasionally I'll go out to a restaurant, get a Coke or something like that, but I wasn't drinking on the daily. And then, I don't know what happened. I think I got a job where a Mountain Dew vending machine was readily available.
Yeah.
And then I just...
Was it at the warehouse we worked at together?
Probably.
Yeah.
And then it's just, I've been riding that dragon ever since, man.
My New Year's resolution, I don't got one. Piece of shit to the grave. That's my motto. My new motto is I'm going to do it even worse. So even less exercise, more bad food, smoking twice as much as I ever had before. Just really ramp it up into the grave. All right, let's get started. We love This Meets That. We love our brackets. This is top three, one of my favorite things we do on the podcast is looking back at the year, judging, pointing and waggling fingers at the bad stuff, holding up in praise the good stuff, and then looking into the future and pretending we know what we're talking about of what's going to be good, what's going to be bad, and what we're most excited for.
Yeah, I mean, predicting things is your worst quality. Well, no, it's not your worst quality. It's just when it comes to movie guessing, you're really
not
bad
a
at it.
skill I have,
Yeah.
yes. But maybe this year
You could turn it
I
around.
wasn't so bad, you know?
Yeah.
You know, maybe comparing to what I predicted in 2023 about 2024, maybe I did a pretty good job. I don't know. We'll have to see. So, how should we start? Do you want to get the big stuff out of the way? You want to do the littler stuff? I think we kind of have to do movies first, right?
In terms of
our top 10 best and top 10 worst.
See, I think you usually say that for the last because you got to keep the people waiting.
Well, let me pull up our last.
I'll do it however you want to, though.
That's right, you will. We'll do it your way. So we'll do it just like we did last year. We're going to say, what was the biggest surprises you had of 2024?
All right. My big surprise of the year.
So you always do one. I always have at least a list of 5.
No, I just pick one. My biggest surprise of the year, Netflix's Hitman. I did not expect to like this movie or care about it. I watched it just because I think you and I needed something to talk about. Or maybe I heard like, it's actually not too bad. And I had a good time with Hitman. Is it the best movie? No. Is it like filled with great performances or like interesting direction? Not really. But is it just a good time from start to finish with like 2 very attractive leading people in a movie that's like pretty fun? Yeah,
absolutely.
Hitman was this surprise joy for me this year in terms of like not making my top 10, but just going, I enjoyed that movie and I wouldn't mind watching it again if it like popped up on TV.
I have 5, and one of them is also Hitman.
Wonderful.
I also really enjoyed and was surprised by Ted, the TV show.
Okay.
Did not expect it to be as funny. Like, the show is better than the movies. The movies have their charm, but once you take Mark Wahlberg out and you put someone better in, Ted just gets so much better. And then Alana, or what's her name? I can't think of it right now, but the mom is great. Roadhouse, very surprised with that. It's not an amazing movie, but trying to live up to that previous one is hard to do. And I think it does an okay job, and I was very surprised that it didn't completely shit the bed.
Yeah. And I'm a little disappointed because it probably would have had Kill of the Year if we didn't have that end tag at the end.
Yeah.
But man, what a great like finishing move, I'll say at the end.
Mm-hmm. Thelma, an action movie with an 80-year-old woman. So much heart, and one of the only movies in recent history that almost got me to drop a single tear, or at least water the eye a little bit. I got very close. It's very charming, very sweet, and I enjoyed it. And then the last one, I think a lot of people won't agree with, but the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. I really enjoyed that movie. I think it's a lot of fun. It's not Guy Ritchie's best by any means, but I expected it to be a huge turd, and it was very fun. All right, next up, biggest disappointments. What were you excited for this year that maybe fell short?
My biggest disappointment of the year is Joker Folie Deux.
Oh, okay.
Big fan of the first Joker. I know you're indifferent to it more or less.
Yeah, I mean, it's good enough. It's fine.
But from something that kind of came out of nowhere that no one wanted in the first Joker, just to come out, win a bunch of Oscars or get nominated for a bunch of Oscars, make a ton of money. He won.
Okay.
I don't know if it won anything else, but like looked great from a director who pretty much only done comedy beforehand.
And like boner fart comedy.
And just Oscar-worthy performance in Joaquin, and makes a ton of money. So it's like you could have just kept it there, and it would have been great. But then you make this one, and if it's like, okay, you're going to do this second one, it's got to be just as good. And boy, is it kind of a stinker. There's good stuff in it, but it's just a completely weird turn of events, and it's a real shame because no one was happy with this movie.
No, yeah. I don't. It's not making anyone's top 10 best. No one's top 25 best. It's probably on a lot of people's worst.
Yeah, I mean, if there's 10 musicals that came out this year, it might make top
Sure,
10
sure,
musicals.
maybe,
Uh,
or at least the honorable mention.
yeah.
It'll be top 10, but there'll only be 9, and it will be the honorable mention. My biggest disappointments, I got 3. One is The Acolyte, the new Star Wars show that premiered. What a good premise and promise of we're not doing Skywalker stuff. 200 years before the Empire, we get a chance to do something really new and really different, and it's just bad. There's some really good fight scenes in it,
Mm-hmm.
and Manny Jacinto, I think is his name. He's pretty great, but the lead, oof, she is not a good actress, and I'd be surprised if she gets work again. This really put a big fart on her career. And then Maxine. Maxine could have been this great ending to a really fun horror trilogy, and it was so disappointing. It's kind of, I would say, unwatchable because I know how bad it is at times that I'm never going to go back to that one. I'll rewatch Pearl, I'll rewatch X, but Maxine, nah. I'll watch some scenes maybe, but that last half, dog shit, and really just ruined it. But my biggest disappointment of 2024 is Alien Romulus.
Mm.
I'm a big Alien boy.
Should have known.
And it just it didn't scratch the itch. It was the like cut heroin. I could tell like it's not the pure shit. It's just fan service, and I think the lead actor was very good, Andy or whatever that character's name is, but the actress was not great. Some dodgy effects with
Wasn't Andy the robot?
yeah, that's what I mean. The character
Oh.
Andy. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, okay. Well, you said the lead. The girl was the lead.
I said like I think I said the male lead
Oh, okay. Sorry.
or the second lead.
Didn't mean to
maybe I
throw you
said.
off. Let's just.
Some really bad effects with Ian Holm, and just the nostalgia and the forced cram it all in.
Mm-hmm.
Do a little bit of everything and call it new. And it was a kind of a big waste of time. All right, let's move on to our favorite scenes of 2024. I have a big old list for this one.
I made a 10 for movies and 5 for TV.
I just have they're all smattered in there. So
Okay. Do you want to do?
we'll go back and forth.
How many do you have?
17.
Okay.
5 and 10. So I'll go first and I'll end it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will say True Detective Season 4, the end, where the women just fight back and force all those men to go die out on the snow for their sex crimes. Amazing. An ending I did not see coming. Couldn't have guessed it. And a pretty good show.
All right. I'm going to go with, let's see. It's not so much a scene, more of a shot, but I'm going to say the murder scene, the first murder in Love Lies Bleeding. After she murders the guy who was abusive, there's a shot of her like standing in the darkness, and she just looks like a monster.
Yeah.
And I just remember like you and I watched. I think we watched that movie together. Maybe
I don't know.
I don't know. Either way, I remember watching that movie and just going like, "Holy shit!" Like it was. That was one of the scariest scenes I've ever in a movie this year. Just for like, just her body standing still in the darkness was horrifying.
Yeah.
Loved it.
My next one would be Shogun.
Mm-hmm.
Take your pick. Fast forward to any episode, any scene. It's one of the best.
Yeah, I didn't put a Shogun scene on here. I was looking through and I was like, what's like the Shogun scene?
Yeah.
But it's like they're kind of all the Shogun scenes.
Yes.
There's no like real bad scene. There's no standout scene because they're all just equally good and on like it's so perfectly structured that it's like I can't pick anything out because nothing really stands out. It's just how it is. So yeah, I don't have a Shogun scene, but I agree.
Cool.
All right. I'm going to go with Furiosa, the big rig fight. We have the
Stairway to Heaven, I think they call it. the scene that feels most like Fury Road, right? With the paragliders.
With the paragliders,
I
yes.
think they call it like the Stairway to Heaven or something. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
why,
Yeah.
but I think that's it.
It doesn't quite top the first one, but it does go. It does try something new where you have aerial combat that we haven't seen in the previous one.
Yep.
We had those like swinging pendulum guys, and those were very cool. But it's like, how do you kind of do that? But bigger. You have the paragliders and the guys with the like wind turbines on their back or
Yeah.
whatever you call it, and flying around. Fans. Thank you, big fans. Well, now I'm trying to think of like I guess they call it fan boat. What are the things in the swamps? Doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, fan boat.
Fan boat, yeah. And it's just all very, very cool. But then you also have that Cthulhu squid kite that follows behind, and then it gets twisted in the back of the brig.
Yeah.
And it's just like an added little thing that just makes you go like, God damn it, this is the shit I wanted when I saw a Furiosa movie. That scene is badass.
I also have a Furiosa scene. The tree at the end. The kind of the mythology of what may have happened with Chris Hemsworth's character and a giant tree growing out of his body and sustaining him as he slowly is decomposing. It's pretty fucking cool.
Very metal. I'll go with. I guarantee this is on your list.
Okay.
Gambit sacrifice scene.
Yep. X-Men 97. The name's Gambit. Remember it.
And just what a incredible piece of like just an action set piece of just this giant metal monster destroying the city, and then you get this beautiful send off to a character doing something super badass.
Mm-hmm.
Great stuff.
I'm gonna go with Dune 2, Worm Riding. It's just, especially comparing it to the David Lynch version of how silly it kind of looks, where you could tell they're on a green screen, you don't really see their feet on anything, and this really got into the actual controls of like lifting their little flaps that have little air holes so they know where to turn. It's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I'll follow your Dune 2 with the Dune 2. Anytime it went, I'm just kidding. No, I'm going to go with the I'm the Chosen One speech in Dune 2. Just beautifully shot of him like walking in, slow with slow motion of him walking in, his cape flapping in the wind, the heat coming off the sand, all these people looking at him. He walks in with the religious ladies behind him and stuff, and then just kind of like goes like, I will be the one to lead you people. And they're always like, you can't speak. And then he's just like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want because I can see into the future now. And they're just like, shit, I guess we got to follow this guy. And it's just, Timothy Chalamet shouldn't be someone you look at and go like, what a fucking badass. But this dude is fucking badass in these Dune movies.
Yep.
I love Timothy Chalamet in this shit.
I will go with Immaculate, baby smashing. It's the very last
That's
scene.
Your dream come true.
Yeah. Sydney Sweeney just smashing a baby. The best. It's the final shot, and you hope it's coming, but you don't expect it to. And it put it over the top. The movie itself is good. It's like a perfectly good movie. I know a lot of people like the first Omen better, but I think that ending really put it over the top.
I'm going to go with, it's not necessarily a scene, but near the end of Longlegs, the yellow eyes under the veil.
Okay.
Never have I seen a shot in a movie that quite scared me as much as just looking into the eyes of like pure evil. And like, it's just, you don't really get to see anything. It's just these pair of yellow eyes, and it's the most jarring, scariest shot in the entire movie, and it freaks me out, and I love it.
I also have a Long Legs. I think the opening is a very effective opening.
100%.
Not being able to see Nicolas Cage's head, this little girl talking to him, and then the hard cut as soon as he like dips down. I think it will be something we'll see parodied in the future.
Sure. I'm going to go back to TV. I forget exactly what it's called, but when the world gets enveloped in the three-body problem by the
eye, all-seeing eye.
The all-seeing eye. Just from a pure, like, horrifying, like, imagine just being a human and you look up in the sky and you just realize how small you are because an alien technology has enveloped your world.
And this, like, everything we've been seeing has been fake.
Yeah. It just... sends shivers.
Well, I also have a 3-body problem, and I'm surprised you didn't use this, but the boat scene.
That was also on my list.
It's amazing. A boat gets completely shredded by invisible wires, and everybody inside gets shredded, children and all.
Yep. That was on my list, but you took it. All right. I'm going to go with in Honora searching for her husband.
Okay.
That's just that whole, like, I mean, it's a whole big
It's
scene.
an act.
Yeah, it's more of an
scene.
act. But I'm going to narrow it down to a particular scene. But that whole chunk of the movie is a lot of fun because you have this, you have Honora teamed up with these like goofball goons who aren't really goons, just kind of like friends of the family who are just like kind of muscle, but it just offers a lot of comedy in this scene in this part of the movie that shouldn't really have it. But particularly, I'm going to go with the courtroom scene. It's almost a scene out of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You just have all these goofballs in a courtroom that's supposed to be very serious, and they're all just. You have him who's just like totally wasted. You have his like uncle essentially, and these two goons trying to like hold him up and argue with the judge. And Honora's kind of going like, no, he's not capable of like divorcing me. This is all bullshit. And it just offers a lot of fun in a movie that's sometimes has dark subject matter.
I'm gonna go with Heretic, the Monopoly analogy.
God damn it, Ben! That was my number 2 of the year.
The best scenes.
Actually, no, probably more my number 1, but that's fine.
Just him using simple terms of how to define religion, and it really kind of makes religious people shut up.
Yeah. Probably my favorite scene of the year. I love that scene. I'm going to go with something fun here. I'm going to go with the origin scene of Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In a movie that's not particularly great. Yeah. I rewatched it recently because when my parents came up to visit, because they were just like, we haven't seen it. And I was like, I'll watch again. On a second rewatch, it's not bad. It's fine. But I just thought that scene was pretty fun and a cool way to introduce, like, what did Beetlejuice do before he died?
Yeah.
Like,
I just wish it wasn't tied to the bride stuff, because that is so dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about the villain, but
the grave digger stuff.
It was fun to see it in black and white and kind of like this sort of like Nosferatu looking grainy film, dubbed in French, I think, and just kind of like, oh, he was there during the Black Plague, and it's just a fun little scene. My favorite scene in that movie.
I'm gonna go with Boy Kills World, the final fight, mainly because the long toenails digging into wounds.
Oh God,
you could pick any fight from this movie, but that final fight really is amazing to watch.
All right. I'm going to go back to TV here. And I'm going to say Nightcrawler and Wolverine teaming up to fight those robot guys.
In X-Men 97?
In X-Men 97.
When Wolverine's getting pulled through his...
Yeah, I mean, that's great, but just seeing Nightcrawler wielding 3 swords and just like... how he like Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Men. I just love how he fights, and I love that he uses swords, and I love that he like teleports and how he like just goes everywhere. It's just the best choreographed Nightcrawler scene I've seen in media, I think. X-Men 2 is great, but this one I think might top it.
All right, well, I got a Deadpool Wolverine. Flame on. What a great scene. Everyone cheered. No one was expecting that. There's so many scenes from this that you could pull out. Like, probably my favorite scene is the car fight in it. But the one that really made me smile was seeing Chris Evans be Johnny Storm.
All right, I got 4 more here. I'm going to go with when the head writer of Saturday Night Live on Saturday Night kind of says a fuck you to the censors by describing... telling the story about, like, essentially Jesus, I think it was. Do you remember this?
Not really.
No? Anyway, because there was that old woman who's, like, she was in charge of... She's, like,
censoring
all the, like jokes.
What's a pearl necklace? Does that sexual?
And just, like, them fucking with her and pissing her off. I picked that scene from Saturday Night Live. The rock and roll of the 1970s comedy world of sticking it to the man.
I'm going to go with In a Violent Nature. When he stabs a woman through the back with a hook, spins her around, hooks it into her head, spins her back around, then pulls her head through her torso. Amazing.
Who says romance is dead? I'm going to go with Civil War. what kind of American are you?
Mm,
Just
mm.
one of the most terrifying scenes of the year, and what makes it so terrifying is you could definitely see it happening
Yeah.
uh, in the next 4 years.
I'm gonna say Hitman. Just the like fast cuts of all of his different personas.
That almost made my list as
Yeah.
well. Um, I'm gonna go with for my second to last. I'm gonna go with Nosferatu. The argument between Lily Rose Depp's character and Nicholas Holt's character, where she kind of like blames him. It's like, you sold me to Orlok, and then she
Mm-hmm.
starts shaking, and then
Yeah.
like eyes roll back, tongue acting. It's scary and intense, and like very well performed. She's great in that sequence of the movie.
I'm gonna say Smile 2. There's a part where all of her backup dancers are
Mm.
just pursuing her through the apartment, and it like there's a lot to love in that movie, but that one really shows how artistic you can be with horror movies.
Mhm.
Just a great scene.
Wonderful. All right, my last scene of the year is Nightcrawler's eulogy to Gambit.
3 X-Men 97
Yeah.
things. All right.
I didn't see a ton of TV this year,
Okay.
other than like things that I've already, Bob's Burgers. I'm not really counting.
Sure.
Other
good
shows,
season.
but good. But this is all like new shows I watched this year.
Sure.
It's basically Shogun, X-Men '97, and Three Body Problem.
Okay.
But yeah, I love Nightcrawler's eulogy and just like kind of talking about Gambit and redemption and Gambit as a character, and just go like, you know what, I think he was bluffing, and just like all that kind of like card talk in there, just beautifully executed. Nightcrawler is my shit.
Yeah, he's great. I got two more. I'll say in The Penguin, Sophia kills her whole family, but that's another show where pick an episode. There's a great scene in all of them. I know you don't love it, but that's a great scene.
It's fine.
And that's when the show turns from being a good crime show to an amazing crime show. But I'd say my favorite scene of the year is The Substance, the last 25 minutes.
Okay.
I'm not going to give any more details because
I'll see it eventually.
Needs to be seen.
All right.
Well, yeah, lots of good shit. Like there was things I left off, like, ooh, that was a good scene, but is it good enough for this list? So I left a bunch off, but yeah, good stuff.
Before we move on to the next thing, I'd like to do a quick, because this is not really on our list, but
Okay.
unless you have a different idea of where to put it, I have best game, best book, and best listen.
Okay.
That I can just list off.
We could do it.
Just do that at the end, kind of like an honorable mention thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
I mean, even though that is our main, our name of the show, I don't have any. Okay, let's do it right now. Just do it right. My favorite book was The Troop by Nick Cutter.
My favorite book was Bloody Rose by Nicholas Eames.
My favorite thing I listened to,
this podcast.
Yeah, like any of the podcasts I normally listen to, mostly nitpicking and the Weekly Planet. There is a podcast I really like called Last Video Store on Earth. No, it's just The Last Video Store by Alexei Topolopoulos or something. And he just brings people in. They have to pick stuff off the shelf. They talk about what kind of video store did you rent from? And then they take a new release and a classic one. And then he gives a recommendation based on those. And his movie knowledge is insane. And those are always fun watches. It's set in Australia, so most of the guests are Australian people. So you may not know who these people are, but someone from two from Auntie Donna have been on it. So, but that's a good one.
My best listen, honorable mention is Childish Gambino's album, because that's pretty much, I think, the only real new CD I listened all the way through. But I'm going to go with Between Two Fires, an audiobook about a man and a young girl in like the Middle Ages trekking across Europe, trying to stop demons from taking over and killing everyone. And it's scary and fucked up and badass, and it's a good time.
Best game, though? I don't know. I played Mad Max this year. That was fun. That wasn't a 2024 game. I don't think I played anything new this year.
Yeah. My best game was Baldur's Gate 3. Technically, it
Yeah.
came out last year, and that's when I started, but I basically spent the majority of 2024 playing it
Yeah.
because there was just so much to do, and I can't get enough. Honorable mention, Alan Wake 2, I guess.
All right. So let's do worst TV of the year.
Worst TV of the year. I only have one.
That's fine. Mine was also not great.
Hmm.
I have five, but some of them I didn't even finish
Yeah.
because they were bad. But go do your one.
My one, and it's actually a good show, but it's a show I would never recommend to anybody. It's a show that is just a trigger warning waiting to happen. It is not a fun watch. It's Baby Reindeer.
Oh.
This show is fucked up, and the first three episodes or so, you're kind of just like, oh, this is kind of fun, and oh, that sexual assault wasn't exactly cool, but maybe there's gonna be some hope in here, and then it just becomes this like just awful, awful, like real thing that happened to a human being, and just see like how someone can be shattered as a person by evil deeds of other people, and it's a tough watch as you go. So Baby Reindeer is my least favorite show of the year for that reason.
It's a very good show, but don't watch
Don't watch it.
I'm gonna say Echo, season one, probably. It just you can tell it was cut down. There was a good Daredevil fight in there, but all in all, not a great show. The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Lived, the Michonne and Rick season, of all the spinoffs that they did, it's my least favorite. They do the most acting. They're definitely trying, but I didn't care about their journey anymore. Whereas Maggie and Negan were more fun. Fucking Daryl and Carol were more fun.
If you told me both those shows came out 4 years ago, I believe you.
Then I have The Acolyte. Already talked about that. Suicide Squad, Isekai. Not my thing. Why did I even watch it in the first place?
Yeah, that was the anime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's gross. But the worst thing was Sausage Party Foodtopia. Couldn't get past. I watched one episode, and that was enough for me. All right. But this was a pretty good year for TV.
Yep.
Lots of good TV. I have 10.
I have 5. No, wait. I have 6. 2 are from last year, but I started them.
All right. You can do your list, and I'll do my list.
Okay. So 2 from last year, I'll start with them, is Yellow Jackets. I watched season 1, really enjoyed it. Looking forward to season 2.
And that was actually like 3 years ago, season 1.
Oh, okay.
Like last year was season 2.
Okay.
And then
so Yellow Jackets was a couple years ago. Finally got to it. Scavenger's Reign. That was like January, I think I watched that.
Okay.
So that was the very beginning of this year. Really impressed by the creativity of that show. I'm going to go with 3 Body Problem. Interesting sci-fi. Definitely has some crazy shit in there. X-Men 97. Don't love it as much as you, but I see its merits. It has multiple scenes that I consider some of the best scenes of television this year. So good stuff there. Delicious in Dungeon. Just a show that has all the things I like and just makes me feel good, but also has like knights and dragons and magic and stuff. It just tickled my fantasy
Itch.
Or
scratched the itch.
Scratched my fantasy itch while also like making me feel
good. Tickled your fancy. It tickled your fantasy fancy. That's
sure. And also some of the food I was like, I need that.
I need that.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. And then of course, to no one's surprise, Shogun. Obviously Shogun.
Duh. For me, number 10, 3 Body Problem. Number 9, Invincible, Season 2. Number 8, Vox Machina, Season 3. Number 7, Fallout. Number 6, Ted. Number 5, Arcane Season 2. 4, The Penguin. 3, Agatha All Along. 2, X-Men 97. And number 1, Shogun. Yeah.
I would also like to give a shout out to Vox Machina and Hacks. I didn't really include them on my list because, there are multiple seasons in now.
They're returning.
They're returning. They weren't like new to me this year, but I did enjoy both of those shows very much.
There was so much stuff on here that was returning, and I was like, well, I can't leave off that, and I can't leave off that. Well, fuck it. I'm just putting in whatever. All right, so that was best TV. Now let's get to some of the good stuff. Worst
Okay.
movies of 2024. How many you got? As always, I have 10.
Uh, I just put 3, but
Really? Oh, yeah, that's right. You only watched 15 movies this year.
yeah, I mean, there's some that would be like honorable mentions, but I don't want to say that they were bad. But these 3 are definitely like not good. So it's not going to be a surprise to you.
Okay.
Uh, you just want me to do all 3,
Yeah.
or okay? So my number 3 worst movie of the year is Trap. I wanted to like this movie. There was a good premise here that was just stick them in the stadium. Everything after the stadium
Yep.
is hot garbage. Real disappointment because I don't know why we keep letting this man hurt us, but we keep
We keep going back every
keep coming
time.
back to Shyamalan.
He made him unbreakable, you know?
But I mean, I was happy to see Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
Put him in more stuff. And my number 2, Red One. I hate to say it because it's got the Evans.
Yep.
We know him, we love him. But this movie, there's once again, there's some like interesting things you could do here in terms of like, you know, having an organization who like hunts down mythological creatures and stuff or manages them. But The Rock and Chris Evans trying to save Christmas from an evil witch just does nothing for me. And then, of course, if you've listened to this podcast and heard us talk about it multiple times and how much I hate this movie,
No.
the worst movie of
No,
the
it's
year
not.
is 10,000% Madam Web. I'm not
Not
even
even
gonna,
on my honorable mention.
I'm not even going to into why, but this movie made me furious. F minus if I can go lower. Z even. Fuck this movie and fuck you for, liking it more than you should because it's so bad it's good.
It is.
It's not.
It's way more rewatchable than
atrocious.
any other Sony movie.
Boo.
All right, so I got 10. Number 10, Bike Riders. Terrible actors. I mean, good actors acting terribly with horrible accents. I don't care if they're accurate. You all sound like SNL characters. Number 9, Rebel Moon Part 2.
I had a feeling this would be on your list.
Yeah. Zack Snyder, give it up. We've negated your DC universe that never did all that well. I mean, the one that made the most money was fucking Aquaman, and you had nothing to do with it. How does Batman and Superman did not make $1 billion? You're done. I don't want to see anything else from you. Number 8, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Stop it. Ghostbusters aren't cool. There's one good Ghostbuster movie. All the rest are shit. Stop making them. Number 7, Trap. All the things you said. Number 6, Venom, The Last Dance. Garbage, bullshit, the worst of the Sony movies that came out this year. Number 5, Borderlands.
Yep, I had a feeling that'd be on your list.
Woo! God, that is a rough one.
Couldn't bring myself to do it.
Number 4, Uglies on Netflix.
Okay. Yep.
It's a fitting title for everything about that movie. Number 3, Megalopolis. It will become a cult classic because of the acting choices and how weird the premise is. But it's not fun. It's
part of me is like,
aggravating.
I still kind of want to see it.
I think you should.
But at the same time, like, I know it's gonna become available on streaming. I'm gonna look at it and go like, I kind of want to watch this, and I never will. I won't. I can't. I couldn't. I bet I won't be able to bring myself to push the play button.
Number 2 is the 4:30 movie. Kevin Smith's, boner about his own childhood. It's all, like sucking yourself off and making you as a teenager the coolest guy that all the women want because the director of Poltergeist.
Yeah.
And number 1, worst movie of the year is Strangers Chapter 1. The first Strangers movie is a great little horror film. I don't really like the sequel. So there was no need to tell us a prequel story that isn't even like a true prequel about the bad guys. It's just doing the same movie again, but with way less blood, way dumber characters. It is infuriatingly stupid. and there's 2 more chapters coming out. I could see them scrapping the third one and maybe re-editing the second one, because the second one I think is already done. But unless it made enough money to break even, like, I don't care about these. Fuck the Strangers franchise. It shouldn't be a surprise that a horror movie could be the worst of the year. But yeah,
All right.
we just have so many in a year. But enough of that.
Madam Web's the right answer. Moving on.
No, Madam Web's
Madam Web's the right answer. Moving on.
No, it's fine. But hey, shout out to Night Swim, The Fall Guy, Bad Boys Ride or Die, 1992, Afraid, The Front Room, and Time Cut. All pretty bad. All right, enough of the negativity.
Yeah. We're not here to put anyone down. They're all, hey, if you made a movie this year, congratulations. You're better than us.
Absolutely.
And I support anyone in the creative arts department, as long as you're not making, like, Birth of a Nation or whatever, you know? Like, don't make pro-Nazi movies.
Yes. All right. Best movies of 2024. I got 10.
Don't we have to do, like, we're doing next year after this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's a year in review, and then
Right. Okay. Got it. Okay, best movies.
You have 10, right? Or you have 8?
I have 10,
Okay.
and some honorable mentions.
Well, we'll go back and forth,
Okay.
10-1, and then we'll throw out the honorable mentions afterwards.
Okay.
All right. So what's your number 10?
My number 10 almost wasn't my number 10, but decided to change at the last second. I'm going with Strange Darling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a movie I didn't see a trailer for, knew nothing about until you brought it up to me. Like, I think the week it was out, and I was like, fine, I'll go check it out. And pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed this movie. I loved its the different kind of structure it had of, like, jumping forth, like Tarantinoing it, as you would say, and jumping back and forth through time here. Always kept you guessing on who was doing what and how they got here. A lot of fun. And I like that it was small, like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
My number 10 is Deadpool and Wolverine.
All right.
It's just a good time. Maybe it's not the highest brow shit, but it serves its purpose of being just like pure entertainment.
All right. My number 9, Civil War. Really well done by Alex Garland, a director who I, following his work, has always put out pretty much quality shit consistently. And this one, I enjoyed the premise, and it's executed well, and it's offered some, like, really kind of horrifying ideas of, like, what if this is the near future kind of stuff. Has a lot to say about things kind of happening now and where they could lead. Really well done movie.
My number 9 is Dune 2. Just a good-looking sci-fi movie that I don't give a shit about. It's a really, really good movie about a franchise I don't care anything about.
All right. My number 8 is Monkey Man. I know you didn't really care for Monkey Man, but from a first-time director in Dev Patel and his, kind of going into the action, he's kind of like, he Chalameted this year. Another actor who you wouldn't expect to be like an action guy, but all the fight choreography was really well done, and I just had a good time all the way through, and I look forward to seeing what he wants to do next, because he's an actor who I really, really like, and look forward to seeing what he wants to do in the future.
My number 8 is Heretic. What a great performance by the 3 leads, and just a great conversation that I like to have with people of faith, even though I'm not as eloquent as Hugh Grant.
My number 7 is Nosferatu. This movie is weird and fucked up and classic kind of Eggers. Visually, really enjoyed it. I don't want to go too much into it because it'll be
we'll probably talk about
our next topic. Yeah. But I have great respect for its artistic choices in this movie.
My number 7 is Strange Darling. Just a simple, small movie that makes you question the whole time. Just when you think you got it figured out, they pull the rug out from you and keep you guessing. And great performances by our two leads.
My number 6 is Deadpool and Wolverine. Initially, I had this at my number 10, and because I was just like, I didn't really, like you said, it's not the most highbrow thing. It's doesn't necessarily change the game in terms of like superhero stories or anything like that, but it's probably the movie I had the most fun at the movie theaters this year.
Yeah.
Laughed all the way through, enjoyed the action sequences. I like these two together. Probably one of the best Hugh Jackman as Wolverine performances. Lots of fun ideas. Deadpool 3 is a good time.
My number 6 is Oddity, one of the creepiest, unsettling movies of the year. I really got under my skin. This is definitely one you want to watch with a good sound system. Uh, if I could just change the final 4 seconds, it could be almost perfect. There's just something that happens that I don't love the choice, and it doesn't really affect the rest of the movie, but it just kind of, it just the ending is a little like Blumhousey feeling, or sequel baity even.
Sure.
But all in all, terrifying with a horrifying little figure. Like I said, the sound design is amazing.
All right. My number 5 is Longlegs. Longlegs is a movie that I don't think I'll watch again, mainly because of all the, spoilers. There's quite a few horror movies on my list. For a guy who doesn't like horror movies, this is possibly the best year of horror ever. Like, there's so much great horror this year.
Yeah.
But Longlegs, of all the movies on this list, probably the most unsettling of everything on my list. Really just creepy stuff all throughout this movie. You can look at it and go like, well, I don't know if a lot of this makes sense, and some of it might be like, well, maybe I don't like this about it. But altogether, this movie is, made me nervous and is quite scary. So Longlegs at my number 5.
I think Longlegs is a good one for like YouTube think pieces.
Yeah.
And people are like, did you notice this? Breaking down the things, and this is what I got from it, and other people may get something else, and it really kind of just, it doesn't spoon feed you everything, but there's a lot to digest in it.
Yeah, excellent marketing campaign. And I appreciate it for its artistic vision, because for me, when it comes to horror, I want something that is unsettling, but not particularly like jump scary. Because I think, that's what we've gotten used to. And most people who go see this will go, Longlegs wasn't scary. But it's not really meant to scary. It's just meant to kind of go like, this is kind of just make you feel weird.
And then to think back of like, oh my God, he was in her mom's basement that whole time. Just like, it's a retrospective sort of give you the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. And I didn't put it on my list, but thinking of it now, just the scene of her being in her house, and like, there's a camera shot of her like working at her desk, and in the background you see the door to her kitchen, and it just sits there for like 2 minutes, and you're like, someone is going to walk in, and nothing ever happens.
Scare,
and it's just like, I just love that kind of idea.
Yeah. So that was your number 5, right?
That was my number 5, yeah.
My number 5 is Furiosa, the little movie that got no love this year. It boggles my mind that we let this fail. Fury Road is like arguably the best movie of all time. I think if you pool every human being and you calculate down their favorite movies and give them all quantifiable scores, I think we could all come together and say Fury Road is the best movie of all time. It may not be your best movie of all time, but it's probably the best movie.
I would say it's most likely in the top 25 for sure.
And the fact that everybody loves that movie and they didn't come out for this. If it made a lot of money, but people said it sucked, that'd be one thing. But no one went and saw this movie. It bombed. It's not like a top 10 bomb or anything, but we ain't getting any Mad Max until after he is dead and they're rebooting it 30 years from now.
Yeah.
And that's a shame, because I want more Furiosa.
I do too. It didn't make my, spoilers. It did make my top 10.
Oh, okay.
But I do really enjoy that movie, and I wish it did get more love, and I do enjoy that world. And it is a bummer, even though it doesn't quite live up to the first one, but how were you going to do that?
Like, the Terminator Zero show?
Yeah.
We talked about, they should do a Predator one. And, they should do just different film franchises. Give them a Mad Max story.
Yeah.
I think animated is the only way we'll ever see more Mad Max.
That'd be cool.
It would be.
I'd watch it. All right.
Just don't make it look like What If. Like, make it look good.
All right. So for my fourth horror movie on my list, I'm going with Late Night with the Devil at number 4. Late Night with the Devil, low budget horror movie. Not the most scariest thing, but just what a fun way to tell a horror story at a late night show and have it look like it's from the 70s or 80s or whatever, and kind of like always keep you guessing on what's real and what's not. The big criticism that we all kind of said was that I just wish they didn't do like the
background, the behind the scenes
stuff.
Unless they switched it to a different style or it's only audio. They found a clever way to do it, but it's just on camera for some reason.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, this is not something that they would have recorded and put it. Yeah. But other than that, Late Night with the Devil, ton of fun, very inventive, very creative. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Absolutely. My number 4 is It's What's Inside, the Netflix body swapping movie. It's just so much fun. This is a good watch, especially for people who maybe don't see these types of movies. They're a little more plain with it. It's kooky and out there enough, but easy enough to follow, and just is a real fun premise and has an excellent ending. And you still need to watch it.
Okay. Will do. For my number 3, I'm going with Dune Part 2. Denis Villeneuve is one of the best working directors right now. I wasn't huge on Dune Part 1, so I wasn't sure how much I would care about Dune Part 2. But Dune Part 2 is better than Dune 1 in pretty much every single way, other than, I guess, visuals, because it's pretty mumuch the same visually. But it's a lot better paced. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more action packed. It's a lot more interesting. There's, I think, a lot more. There's better scenes. Where the first one kind of failed in terms of just. It was slow. It was building this world and introducing all these characters in this world that could be quite uninspiring to look at, just being all sand. But Dune 2, I had a great time all the way through. And, if Dune Part 3 comes or doesn't come, if it does, I will happily go see Dune Part 3. I think Dune Part 2 is a marvel that is only held back by the fact that it's kind of a second half to a bigger story.
Sure, yeah. My number 3 is Smile 2.
Okay.
The best horror movie of the year. Just beautifully artistic, scary, great jump scares. I know people consider jump scares kind of cheap, but they're used for a reason because they are effective. And as long as they aren't presented in a cheap way, they all feel legitimate. And great performance by the lead. I can't remember her name, but the Jasmine and the Pink Power Ranger.
Yeah. Naomi Scott.
There you go. Thank you, Steve. Just fun from beginning to end, and I will watch every Smile movie that comes after. Please keep making them.
All right. My number 2, my last horror movie on this list, Heretic.
Nice.
I didn't expect Heretic to be on my list. And before I go into this, I told you that there was a point where I was going to make 3 of mine. My number 1, 3 different movies.
Yes.
And it was going to be Heretic, Long Legs, and Late Night with the Devil. And I can't really rank them. They're all kind of like on the same level to me. But then I thought about it more and I shifted things around. And so this is what it is. Okay. But I like Heretic. Of all the horror movies this year, Heretic's my favorite. Not because it's the scariest, but just because I love its ideas and how it presents it and how the first, hour of this movie, there's it's all just dialogue.
Yeah.
And it's just people in a house talking. And it's all very engaging, and I'm never bored. I'm never looking away from my phone. There are hints of just what's happening here? Is this guy a monster? Is he not a monster? Is this going to turn out okay for them? Obviously, being locked in here is not okay. But maybe it's just hey, I'm going to present you this thing, and then you're going to get out of here. But then the back half of the movie takes this horror turn, and it gets pretty scary, pretty fucked up,
Yeah.
and just really, really fun. So Heretic really, really impressed me.
So I'm not going to fault you for wanting to have 3 movies as your number 1 or your number 2 because I've been having such trouble with my number 1 and my number 2. I keep flip-flopping them.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to stick with my initial thought.
Okay.
So
Go with your gut.
My number 2 is The Substance.
Okay.
Just the most beautiful and like disgustingly horny movie, but also amazingly beautiful but disgusting special effects. It's whiplash of the most beautiful looking shots, but it's of an ass. It's like it's filmed so beautifully and the music is so good, but it's just her butt. And it makes you feel gross for looking at just a nice butt, but then you get excited when you see like the really disgusting stuff. So then that also makes you feel gross. And
it's called poop, Ben. This is just a snuff film. I don't know. I think you watched the wrong Substance movie.
And then the subject matter of like, oh, only certain age limit is considered beautiful, and you're useless if you don't have it, and the need to constantly stay beautiful. It's a great message, even if it is completely on the nose, and it just hammers it home over and over again. But there's not a single bit of this that I didn't like. It is one of the most entertaining movies I've seen in a long time, and I hope they get a physical release of it because I don't want to subscribe to Mubi just to watch this. I need to own it.
No, they should do. You know how they have the slip covers? I haven't seen The Substance, but they should do a thing because you know how you'd have those like cardboard ones that you can like open up. It should just be, you know how on the poster it's her spine and it's like ripped. It's just like
open it.
Open it that way.
Yeah,
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right,
so what's your number 1?
My number 1 of the year.
I remember last year trying to guess, and I forgot about Foggy Mountain.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, what is Steve's best movie of the year? It's not War of the Rohirrim. I know that.
Yeah, so my number 1 initially was lower on my list, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I think this might actually be my favorite movie of the year. Okay. Do you have any other guess before...
Like, is it first half of the year, second half of the year?
Second half of the year.
In theaters?
In theaters.
Was it a topic of one of our... Was it a main topic of one of our podcasts?
Yes.
Oh, I got the book right in front of me. I could flip right through it and cheat. Kraven the Hunter.
Did not see it. My number 1 movie of the year is Saturday Night.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's right. A movie we did see together.
Yeah. The more initially I was just like, I enjoy this movie all the way through, but, didn't necessarily blow me away in terms of like, wow, that's definitely my number 1 of the year. But as I was making this list and thought about it, this movie has everything I like. It has interesting direction. It has a exciting, young, talented cast. What's his face doing an incredible Dan Aykroyd impression. It's funny and also is about filmmaking and the creative process. This is just kind of like, if you're a fan of film and Saturday Night Live and just like, what an incredible time to just like, oh, we're creating this thing. We don't know what we're doing, but we're learning on the go and just seeing how it started and where all these people go off and to become like legends of comedy and TV and movies and stuff. And it's just fun all the way through while also being intense. Like, everything's going to be okay, but you're still like up until like, are they going to be able to make it to air? It's just a blast. And I wish, they could make more stuff like this. I think Saturday Night Live is great, and it's going to fly under a lot of people's radar. It's not going to make anyone's number 1 of the year, but I think Saturday Night deserves more credit because I think it's fantastic.
There was something we forgot to, or at least I forgot to bring up when we talked about it. In this movie, we have great impressions of Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase, and people just kind of nailing people who you don't hear impressions of.
Yeah.
But our main character is Lorne Michaels, someone that everyone does an impression of who worked on SNL, but he doesn't do that at all. And I know that's probably maybe his older sounding voice, but he doesn't even put on a little bit of that Lorne Michael accent.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a Lorne Michael aficionado, so I can't really speak to the character too much. But also, there's a lot of cocaine at that time. He was, a young guy, and also, I can't imagine.
They weren't doing cocaine on set though, but
You
it's
never
like, did
know.
they have a discussion of like, should he do the Lorne Michaels voice that people do,
Yeah.
or they're like, no, it's too distracting, just scrap it. But I wish we could have heard a little bit of his Canadian come out.
Yeah. I also think that, I don't know what the physical release of this movie is like or if there's special features, but I could see this being a real fun, like, how they made the movie and how they decided to like
Yeah.
do the choices they do. Like if there's a director's commentary, I'd like to listen to
Hmm.
it because I think this movie is great. And in terms of like biopics, it was easy to go the way of just like, oh, we'll do like the Bob Dylan thing, and it's like. You came here with a guitar and a dream. Like, no, you're never gonna make it, Bob. And then, of course,
Yeah.
you've seen the Walk the Line and the Walk
Walk hard.
Hards and
Yeah.
like all these like movies that follow the same beats.
Hmm.
But here's a biopic that is just about this one moment in time, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah. I'd like to watch the behind the scenes because anything that is the movie's about making movies or TV shows, but then all these cameras and everything that is normally behind the scenes, that's on film.
Hmm.
So then you have like this kind of double camera situation. And I don't know, it's got to be really hard to pull that stuff off. All right, my number one, best movie of the year. Do you have any idea?
I should.
You should.
I
saw
swear
it.
to God, if it's Madam Web, I'll kill
No,
you.
no. After I saw it, I even said, I think this is my favorite movie of the year. I made you watch it.
Mars Express.
Mars Express.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of that movie. I just love every second of it. It's beautifully animated with a really fun story, and it's 89 fucking minutes. It is so tight and does so much in that time. It's mind-boggling, and I've heard nobody talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's a damn shame. I would think we kept calling it anime, and Nick kept correcting me. It's not an anime, it's a French film. I'm like, yes, I get it. But it looks like traditional Japanese animation, or at least
More or
a
less.
style
Yeah.
of it.
Similar.
So it's fine. But I think because it is not from Japan, maybe it just flew under people's radars. But this movie is amazing. Watched it multiple times this year, and I love it. And I'm planning on watching it probably in the next few days with my roommate because she needs to see it. Whether she likes it or not, I'm making her watch it.
All right.
Woo!
What a year.
What
Do you have any
year.
honorable mentions you want to shout out?
So honorable mentions. Late Night with the Devil, Boy Kills World, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Hitman, Thelma, Longlegs, Blink Twice, especially Blink Twice, The Apprentice, Saturday Night, Daddy's Head, Caddo Lake, and Out of Darkness.
All right. I have Furiosa, Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, and Love Lies Bleeding.
Oh, yeah.
Those are mine. Love Lies Bleeding I have some issues with, but there's some great stuff in Love Lies Bleeding.
Sure.
I'll take a interesting indie film when I can.
Well, before we move on to 2025, I have a couple of new things I wanna do.
Oh, and Honora.
Oh yes,
I also want to
Honora,
shout out
yeah.
Honora. Honora's pretty good.
I meant to do this at the beginning of the episode, but I've done it, I think, for each of these. This was the year of blank.
Mm-hmm.
Like one year is the year of buses, like Shang-Chi had a fight on, but there's a lot of bus
Sure. Okay.
media. At first I thought like this was the year of animation, but I think that was more last year, like with Blue Eye Samurai and Scavengers and things like that. And this year had a lot of animation, but it was also mixed animation, like Kung Fu Panda 2 and Despicable Me. Yeah, maybe they made money, but they weren't really considered good. But I'm going to say this is the year of, and I'm doing finger quotes for everyone, the scariest horror movie you've ever seen in your entire life. That was at least 6 different movies, and this was a great year for horror.
Fantastic year for horror.
So much good horror. There was a lot of shit too, but so much of it was just way overhyped, and I think that's what killed Longlegs for a lot of people. I don't think why Oddity didn't do as well, but This was a great year for horror, but it wasn't the scariest horror movies you've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean,
Long Legs definitely was a very scary horror movie. Though.
Yeah. I think if you look at my top 10 list of the past, if I made a top 10 list for the past 30 years of film, you'd probably be lucky to have a horror movie on that list. But this year, I have 5, if we're counting Strange Darling as a horror movie, which I kind of do. So this is either it's a bad year for movies and just happens to be some decent horror, or it's just a great year for horror. I'm going to give it a great year for horror because they're not only effectively scary and interesting, but they're also just really well made. It's nothing of my 5 is cheap.
So of the 2 new things I want to do, so 2024 actors who had a great year.
Oh, okay.
I didn't ask you to do any of this just because
this is just a fun Ben.
It was a little thing for me, so I got a couple of them. I'd say like as a runner-up, it'd be Ella Purnell. She had Fallout and Arcane, so two good things.
And Yellow Jackets.
I had Yellow Jackets, but it didn't come out this year. It came out last year. So
there wasn't a season this year?
No. Oh. It's like been a season, no season, every year. So it's taken them a while to do it. So good year for her.
Mm-hmm.
Aubrey Plaza, little mix. She had Agatha All Along, My Old Ass, and Megalopolis. So it's like a little bit of good, bad in the middle. Margaret Qualley had a pretty good year with Kinds of Kindness, The Substance, and then Drive Away Dolls. I think she's good in Drive Away Dolls. It's just that movie is not that great. But a very horny year for her because it's all nudity and sex based for her this year. Bill Skarsgård had Boy Kills World, Nosferatu, and The Crow. So also a mixed bag, but he got a chance to a
good, a decent, and a bad.
Yes. I say there's 2 kind of number 1s, but I'd say number 2 is J.K. Simmons. He had Invincible, Red One.
I'm so glad you brought this up because of all the people, I watched Juror number 2 recently, which we'll talk about.
We'll talk about next week as well.
But I was just like, man, J.K. Simmons in a ton of shit this year.
He is.
Sorry,
Invincible, Red One, Juror number 2, Saturday Night, The Union, and You Can't Run Forever. I don't know what that last one is, and I hear The Union's not very good. Red One is not good. So he has a mixed bag, but he's always good in everything that he does.
Yeah, he's the best part of everything.
But I think the person who had probably the strongest year, maybe not as much stuff, but a strongest year, was Willem Dafoe. Saturday Night, Kinds of Kindness, Beetlejuice, and Nosferatu. Yeah, he pretty much killed it, but he kills it all the time. But he just had 4 really good things, and then he had Poor Things just like in November, December of last year. So it's been nonstop.
My man's working,
and then. You can't have the best without the bad,
Okay.
So who had the worst runs for 2024? And I got 2. In second place is Jack Black. This guy, he had Borderlands and Bad Santa. Dear Santa, which I haven't seen. It seems like Jack Black as Satan posing as Santa. What a great movie. Apparently it's absolute shit. So Borderlands, Dear Santa. Kung Fu Panda 4, which is considered not very good, but it made a lot of money. But it's like, okay, Kung Fu Panda's dead now. The Minecraft trailer came out, and everybody, ooh. And then Tenacious D had their fallout because of the presidential assassination and Kyle Gass giving it the thumbs up and him going, oh, shit, I got a save face. You're fired. We're canceling all our shows. Not a great year for Jack Black.
Yeah, it's funny because I was on Reddit recently and saw like the 4 horsemen of like not going to see that movie, and it was like The Rock and Kevin Hart and I don't know who else sucks. Matthew Perry.
I don't think we have a problem seeing any Matthew Perry movies.
No, but it's just like here's actors who keep doing stuff that no one really likes. But then Jack Black was on there. I was like, man, I feel like just last year you could have said like, oh, who doesn't like Jack Black?
Yeah.
I love Jack. Like, yeah, he hasn't made the greatest films, but I wouldn't say he's gone consistently bad stuff. But I guess people don't really care for Jack Black anymore.
I think people will still give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, we like you, Jack Black. Well, yeah, like once he gets another Jumanji out there and he gets to do another silly character, people will be back on in his good graces.
Yeah.
I think
I'm really against Jack
Black. The Rock uh, Kevin Hart, Jared Leto.
Mm.
Jared Leto's in a movie. I don't want to see it. He's in a lot of good movies though. He's not like he's in fucking Tron, the next Tron movie. He just got cast as Skeletor for the He-Man movie. Like I see it. Like he's perfect casting for Morbius. I can see him as Skeletor. He's got one of those bad guy faces.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve to have a career. He's a bad dude and he sucks. Anywho, the person who had the worst year is not a person. Unless you're Mitt Romney, then you would consider this thing a person. But
What the fuck are we talking about?
Sony, the picture company. Mitt Romney said back in the day that corporations are people too.
Okay.
So Sony had Madam Web.
Jesus Christ.
I know it was a stretch. Sony had Madam
When you
Web.
said this thing had the worst year, I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get canceled. But okay, it's Sony. Thank God.
Sony had Madam Web, Craven, Venom 3, Afraid, Fly Me to the Moon, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, Here, Garfield, and Harold and the Purple Crayon. No hits this year. I mean, maybe they did, but that's a lot of fucking stinkers.
Yeah, I'm sure they had a ton of hits on the old PlayStation forefront.
Sure.
But anyway, in terms of movies, sure, they had a pretty dog shit year.
Pretty bad year. So, R.I.P. Sony. All right. This may be the least tasteful thing, but we're going to give it a try. This is 2024's death bracket. I have 8 celebrities who have died, and I put them in a bracket, and we're going to say who was the biggest loss. We're going to vote for who we wish was still alive of these two.
Okay.
All right. So up first.
It's so good no one listens to our podcast.
So up first, we have Quincy Jones versus Tony Todd. Who's a bigger loss?
I never really got much from Tony Todd. Quincy Jones has made a ton of great music, so I'd say Quincy Jones. Tony Todd, great voice of Venom, though.
Yes. Carl Weathers versus Chris Christopherson.
Once again, Chris Christopherson, a legend, but I feel like, me personally, I've gotten more enjoyment out of Carl Weathers.
Okay. Richard Simmons versus James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, Hollywood legend, but Richard Simmons, I think, did more good for the world.
Oh, okay.
Or at least attempted to. So, and he seemed like a sweet man.
Okay. That's surprising. I did not see that coming. And it was a weird combo. Shannon Doherty or Donald Sutherland?
I don't know if I've really ever seen Shannon Doherty in anything.
Mallrats.
Okay. I do like Mallrats. But I'll go
Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland, even though I'm not like I've seen Donald Sutherland do good things.
So, Quincy Jones versus Carl Weathers.
Quincy Jones clearly has the bigger impact, but I'll go with Carl Weathers on this because I just enjoy Carl Weathers more.
Yeah. Arrested Development, Predator, good stuff. Richard Simmons. Creed, yeah. Richard Simmons versus Donald Sutherland.
Richard Simmons. I don't care about Donald Sutherland. No offense.
President Snow?
Yeah.
From the Hunger Games?
He's great, but Richard Simmons, he was out there trying to get people skinny and healthy. You know?
And skinny is good?
No, as soon as I said, I knew I messed up. You fucking piece of shit.
All right,
but you try to get people healthy.
Richard Simmons versus Carl Weathers.
I'll go Carl Weathers.
Okay.
I'm not like my favorite thing about Richard Simmons was that that one episode of Whose Line Is It Anyway he did that just like is one of the funniest things that was ever put on TV. Have you ever?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god, we gotta watch it.
Right.
It's great. But anyway, Carl Weathers is great.
Okay. All right.
I feel dirty.
Goodbye 2024. It was a pretty good year for movies. I'm not upset with what you gave us. But let's look forward to 2025. And we're going to talk about our most anticipated movies of 2025.
Assuming that they actually do come out.
Yes,
and not push back.
Looking back at the other ones, there was a lot of things that did not make it. All right, I got 2, 4, 6, 7.
Sorry, for what?
Most anticipated.
Most anticipated. I just picked one.
You always just pick one, and I tell you every year, it's like these are the things that you could have your most anticipated, but there are other things that you can be anticipating.
Sure.
Okay. Well,
you go down your list.
Sure.
If you want to.
Predator Badlands. From the same director as Prey, so why not?
Sure, Prey was fun. Don't care.
Until Dawn, good game. See how it translates to a movie.
I think this is going to be bad. I don't care.
Very well could be.
I'll be interested to see how it plays out. But it's just like that game, like the whole thing is just like how your choices affect the story. Where now this is just like, well, this is just a singular story.
I know, but that's
why play the game.
I'm anticipating it to see how are they going to take this.
Yeah.
Sinners with Michael B. Jordan looks really fucking
fun.
Cool. There's another Final Destination movie, part 6. Don't go. It's one of the greatest horror franchises there is.
Sure.
I think it's called Final Destination Bloodlines or something. Don't love that. Just call it 6. Fantastic Four, of course. 28 years later. And I'd say probably my most anticipated right now, Superman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But 28 years later and Superman I could put on if I made a list. Sure. 28 years over Superman. But my most anticipated that, at least that I know something of, I've seen a trailer for it, I'm excited, like the cast, like the director, I'm going with Mickey 17.
Oh, yeah.
Bong Joon-ho's next movie. He hasn't made a bad movie yet. And I look forward to seeing what weird sci-fi shit this does. It looks interesting. It looks funny. And Robert Pattinson's just fucking killing it and everything nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And
go make another Batman movie and stop pushing it back. God.
Yeah. But Mickey 17, I'm excited.
Cool. All right. And then who asked for this? The things we are not anticipating because of whatever reason. I'll go first. Weird list. I doubt a lot of these, or at least one of these, will not happen. But there's another I Know What You Did Last Summer coming out, and it'll have Freddie Prinze Jr. and what's her fucking face? Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Sure.
We don't need this. This was only made because Scream was so damn popular.
Yeah.
And it doesn't live up to it. I don't think we need this. Jurassic World Rebirth with like Scarlett Johansson and a whole cast of people. Haven't we learned? We're done. You fucked up. You had a chance to make really good Jurassic Park movies, and you just kept doing the same dumb shit. And when you finally got a chance to do the dinosaurs in the world, you just made another park. It was just a nature reserve. Fuck you. Fuck Jurassic Park. Karate Kid Legends. Who the fuck needed Jackie Chan to come back from his Karate Kid and Ralph Macchio, who's already come back with the TV show? So does that mean Cobra Kai is canon to the one with Jackie Chan? Who cares? Karate Kid's dead.
Honestly, I don't think the trailer looked that bad, though.
Oh, I haven't watched the trailer because I don't care. And then the one I think will probably not come out is Passion of the Christ 2? Passion of the Christ 2? Is this because
Resurrection?
Is it like Gladiator did good, so we gotta do Passion of the Christ? I think it is called Passion of the Christ 2 Resurrection.
Oh, I was just fucking around.
No, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
That's funny.
And it's like, this is with, we're gonna get Mel Gibson back to do it, and I'm assuming Jim Caviezel, but Jim Caviezel is not the same Jim Caviezel that we knew back in the day.
Yeah, because he's resurrected.
No, he's a crazy person now. So who the fuck wants that?
All right. Well, I only had one, obviously. So for my who asked for this? Saw 11. Who's asking for like
Saw fans?
I get like horror franchises. We need to make money. I understand like there's that idea to it, but we've had multiple Saw movies go like this is the final one.
Yeah.
And they keep finding ways to bring back, whatever the Jigsaw's real name was or whatever.
Mhm.
I think that actor, is he officially dead now? Did he die years ago? I don't remember.
No, the actor's still alive. He was in Saw 10.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah, but the character died in Saw 3.
Yeah. Yes. But, they tried to bring it back again with Chris Rock doing it, and none of these have been good since 2.
I 3 is my favorite, just because the traps are kind of gross.
Okay.
But
I'll give you the first 3. But it's a franchise that just keeps going and there's Saw 3D and the Chris Rock one, and they just keep trying to, and I appreciate it, but your franchise has never been really all that good.
Yeah.
And I don't think they've all really made it that much money.
You can make them for $20 million, and they make at least 50 to 100.
Yeah, fine.
So they're all.
But
I get why they're making another one.
But I get why studios making it. But I'm saying I don't think anyone who is even a fan of the Saw franchise is going let me get more.
Mm-hmm. 10 was a good one to do after Spiral, because Spiral sucked so fucking hard, the Chris Rock one.
Uh-huh.
It was fine to go, here's one where he first started getting his Jigsaw groove. That's fine. But then now what? Is this right after that? The series is so jumbled, because even when you're in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they're like, did you realize this was taking place during 2? And this is a flashback to this. They're all so out of order and fucked up that where does this one even fall? But yeah, I'm fine with this choice, because who gives a fuck? All right, let's do our highest grossing predictions of 2025. So we'll take it back, and we'll talk about what was the highest grossing and biggest bombs of 2024, and the things we said, and say how good of a predictor we were. So biggest bombs of 2024. Number 10, I didn't get dollar amounts. Sorry. Okay. And some of these I don't even know what they are. Number 10, Land of Bad. I think it's a Chris Hemsworth movie or something.
Okay.
I don't even know what that is. Number 9, Drive Away Dolls. Number 8, Problemista. Number 7, the American Society of Magical Negroes. Number 6, ISS. Number 5, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Number 4, Origin. I don't know what that is.
Nope.
3, Book of Clarence. Number 2, Borderlands. And number 1, Argyle. So you said the biggest bomb of 2024 was going to be Craven, which it's still in theaters. The numbers aren't out. I would not be surprised if it does make this list, because it did not make a lot of money, and it cost $150 million. It's ridiculous. Sweet. I also said Craven, and then I had a take. I said Dune 2, because I thought people weren't going to give a shit. Boy, was I wrong on that one. But I had a take. I said Borderlands was going to bomb. And so, hey, pretty good. We'll call it even on that one.
I'll give it to you.
And then highest grossing of 2024, number 10. Obviously, these numbers will change. Movies are still in theater. The year's not technically over. Beetlejuice is number 10. Venom: The Last Dance is number 9. Number 8 is Kung Fu Panda 4. 7, Godzilla X Kong. We never even mentioned Godzilla X Kong. There's some real fun scenes in that.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot.
Godzilla suplexed a monkey off a pyramid.
That almost made my worst of the year list, once again, because I haven't seen a ton of bad movies. Because I don't think that movie's good at all until the last 30 minutes. Then the movie's fucking dope. Yeah. But the first hour of that movie is utter
a lot
trash.
Of bad shit, yeah.
Anyway.
Number 6 is Wicked. Number 5 is Dune 2. 4 is Moana 2, which I think is kind of crazy that Moana 2 was the 4th highest grossing film of the year already. And it just came out Thanksgiving time. That's nuts. And it's considered bad.
Well, those movies make the majority of their money in the first 3 weeks.
Sure.
You know?
Number 3, Despicable Me 4. Number 2, Deadpool Wolverine. And number 1, Inside Out 2.
Oh, okay.
So you said the highest grossing films of 2024 were going to be either Joker 2.
Damn it.
It was a good prediction at the time.
Yeah.
We did not even know it could be that bad. And Deadpool Wolverine.
Okay.
So you got that. I said I went a little easy. I said Kung Fu Panda 4, Despicable Me, and Inside Out 2 because animated
Animated
films
movies make money,
do
yeah.
well. But I also said Joker, but I also said Wicked. So,
Oh,
okay.
good job, Ben.
Yeah, I did. Some of my predictions aren't too far off. So now we got to look at
Wicked
what
was that dark horse sleeper hit. That's the horse you're like, it's expected to do like eighth in the race, and you're like, no what? That horse looks like it's got some moxie. I'm gonna put some money on that one just in case.
Like, The Greatest Showman came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
musical into the year, like, and Wicked is way more established. So I wonder if 2 will do as well because, say, like for me, they got my ticket, but I'm not going to see part 2. I don't give a shit how that ends. I wonder how much of a drop off it will be.
Yeah.
Or will it be even better? Because I've heard from a lot of people who enjoy the musical, the first half is the good half, and the second half is the what happened again? I don't even remember what happened in the second half.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how this plays out, considering how well it's doing and how much everyone's just like, it's my favorite movie of the year. It's Ariana needs to win the Oscar, and they're great, and the songs are so much fun. It's like, is that sort of excitement going to carry over into the next year, or is it just going to be like, it was all this brand new thing and excitement? Now we had a year to kind of like cool off and find things to hate about it.
Yeah. All right, let's do our biggest hits of 2025. What do you? I got 5 things I think will be big money makers in the new year.
You can pick one that way. You can really
one is as my one.
Yeah, but now you can go 5. Like, well, see, I got 4 of them that are like really good.
No one says you can't pick 5.
No,
you just are dead set.
No one says you can't pick one.
Thing. It's my show. I pick what I
want. Highest grossing. I have 2. Okay. I have domestic and I have worldwide.
Okay.
Domestically, I'm going to say Superman's number 1.
Yeah.
Worldwide, I'm going to go Avatar 3, Fire and Ash or whatever it's called.
Fire and Ash, yeah.
Because I never expected Avatar 2 after all this time to like cross a $2 billion mark. That motherfucker crossed $2 billion.
Yep.
And it was kind of the same movie. So I will never count out James Cameron and the Avatar franchise. And, the idea of like, oh yeah, they're blue water people. Well, now it's like fire and volcanoes. And I think there could be some really cool badass. It could be totally different.
Yeah. It's just funny that they released Avatar and they're like, there's already a show called Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, it's nothing like that, except we've done the air tribe, the water tribe, and now the fire tribe. God, you are so creative, James Cameron. But yes, I agree. That's an easy pick.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance Superman, because Superman's the most recognized symbol on the planet.
It's like,
other than maybe Jesus.
It's Super Mario is number 1, Jesus is number 2. So I would say maybe.
But in the
Superman's
top 5, Superman
3,
and Batman symbols,
and then Godzilla maybe.
Yeah, like you could be in the most remote like village on the planet, and someone could draw an S in the sand and be like, Superman.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know any other English, but you
know the words Superman. Okay, Coca-Cola, and Superman.
Yeah. So I think Superman will make fucking gangbusters money.
Yes. And here's hoping, because if it doesn't, like, what is Warner Brothers going to do? It's a hard handbrake of, shit, people don't even want this? Well, maybe we don't want that Clayface movie. Maybe we don't want that Supergirl movie. We have a Green Lantern show in production? Fuck. What are we going to do?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how it, like, word of mouth kind of gets around, or if a second trailer drops or whatever. Yeah. But Superman, I think, is going to make the highest domestically, but worldwide, it's going to go to Avatar.
Okay. I agree. I think Superman is going to be one of the highest grossing, and then, like we just said, Wicked 2. It's probably a pretty sure bet. The Jurassic World movies always make money, so I'll say yeah. It's like Transformers. If there's going to be a Transformers movie, probably going to be one of the highest grossing. Except the last 2 that have come out, not the case. But I think, okay, so
counting the animated one or not counting the animated?
Not counting.
Okay.
That one also didn't make money. So let's say the last 3 didn't do the money they expect. So one, kind of easy. I think Lilo and Stitch will do good money. I'm not happy with it. I'm sick of the live action remakes. And we haven't talked about any of the trailers or whatever, but let me just go on a little rant real quick. So in the cartoon, Lilo and Stitch are the same height. They're the same size characters. but they're using a real 8-year-old girl for this, so you can't make Stitch that tall. That's scary. That's too big. So he's going to be small like before. But I think the height is going to make it just not nearly as fun. And also, I don't like him being CG. I think this would have been a great chance to do a puppet. Motion capture for some things I get, but an animatronic thing that she could interact with would be a lot of fun. I don't think they needed to go full CG for this one. But that will make
I'd like
money.
to see. I get what you're saying. I'd like to see the vision of that though.
Yeah. And then my last one would just be Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic that keeps getting pushed back. It's his nephew is playing Michael Jackson. The estate is part of it. There's a chance. Sometimes these biopic musical things, like Bohemian Rhapsody, did amazing, and Michael Jackson is right up there with Queen. So there's a good chance that this could be one. It could be like another, Notorious or the George Foreman one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like that. That's my guess.
But you never know. So I'm throwing it out there. So what's the biggest bombs? I have 2, 4, I have 6 on this one as well. I'll go first on this.
It's on Fuqua's directing it. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, biggest bombs.
I'll go first. I think the two that have the biggest budget and maybe star power are going to be Captain America 4, just because it may make $500 million, but it has cost them so much with how many reshoots they've done on this and keep pushing it back and tooling with the special effects. They put so much that it's going to bomb regardless. Even if it's a good movie and it makes a ton of money, it's still going to be considered a bomb. And then The Electric State. Have you seen the trailer for that? Millie Bobby Brown and robots.
I don't quite remember it, but I yes.
It's the Russo brothers. I'm excited. It's a fun concept, and visually it looks interesting, but I don't think people give a shit, and it will do extremely bad.
But it's not even coming to the theaters, right? That's just
and now that I'm talking about it, I realize I think it's a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
So
you never quite know how much it bombs.
Yeah, so I can't really count that. I think Minecraft will bomb. I think it will do okay in the beginning just because kids want to see Minecraft, but I think it'll be like Warcraft, where there's a huge fan base, but nobody goes and sees it. I talked to so many people who play World of Warcraft, and they said they never bothered to see it. That blows my mind, that you have something that you love so much and you don't even bother to see the movie. I think Minecraft's going to do the same thing. Snow White just looks so ugly and has had so much bad press for the entire year. People don't like Gal Gadot anymore. Have you seen the pictures of, like, they show the poster and it's like, wow, you could tell she's a bad actress even in the poster. Just makes me laugh.
I'm glad you bring this up, because thinking back to the Four Horsemen, she was one of the Four Horsemen.
Oh, yeah,
it was
okay.
Her, The Rock. I don't know if it was Kevin Hart, might have been, and Jack Black.
Okay.
But she was definitely one of the four.
Yeah. I like Gal Gadot.
I do. I got no problem.
I don't have any problems there. I think her Wonder Woman's fine. It's just there's too much bad Wonder Woman out there. And then I think animated movies that are going to tank is the Smurfs. What is this, like Smurfs 4 or 5? No,
I've never seen any of them.
Yeah, neither have I. It's like when they did the Yogi Bear movie. Who cares about Yogi Bear now? Nobody cares about Garfield. Why did you make a Garfield movie? These are nostalgia things for kids that did not grow up with this. So I think this Smurfs will bomb, and I think the big Disney bomb will be Elio, where the kid gets abducted by aliens and he pretends that he's the...
Right.
Because I think like Strange World or Onward or... the Red Panda one, Turning Red. There's been a lot of Disney stuff that, is kind of a big concept, and they haven't really been hitting. Of course, some of those were straight to streaming or were affected by the pandemic. I think this is going to be one like, the next Disney movie. That's not Frozen. I don't know what this is.
Yeah,
I don't
Wish.
care.
Did anyone see Wish?
No, because Wish is actually a bad movie. Apparently, It is one of the worst Disney movies ever made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
My biggest bomb, I just put down Snow White. Okay. Just from a budget standpoint, it looks like it's almost all CG. Like you said, the bad press. I just don't expect it to be a good movie. So I think in terms of like money spent and expected to be made versus money that it actually makes, I think that'll be the biggest bomb. But I also think I'm going to be wrong on this one.
Okay. So we do a little thing just about the comic book movies of 2025. And I only found 4. But
Good.
2 are very, very big. And one of them, like a couple of them are important that they need to be good and hit in order for things to continue. So in order of release, Captain America 4. If people don't turn out for this, who, like, you don't like Captain America? Everybody loves Captain America. People don't want this anymore? How is he gonna lead the Avengers? There's a lot riding on this for the rest of the Marvel Universe. Next is Thunderbolts, which doesn't have as big of an impact, but I'd say it's one of my more anticipated comic book movies, just because it's what comic books are.
Yeah.
Taking characters from all different types of books, putting them in a thing together, and having them do a mission. That's what comic books is all about.
The edgy Avengers.
Yeah, the Dark Avengers, or what the Suicide Squad of the Marvel Universe, however you want to call them. And then Superman will come out, which we already talked about, and then like 2 weeks later, Fantastic Four comes out, and that's in July. I don't think there's any more comic book movies for the rest of the year, unless there's smaller things. So we kind of already talked about these, about what's going to be a bomb or everything, so we don't need to discuss much more about them. But
great.
All right, our last segment.
It's almost over, folks. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, I know this is long, but it's What's That?
Yeah.
Where we just look at the titles of movies that are coming out in 2025 and go, I don't know what that is, just based off that title, and we'll maybe do a little pitching, see if we're right at all. When looking back at last year's, a lot of it was like Mickey 17, I think, was one of them, but and then some things, the name. Actually, let me just find it and read it to you. Oh yeah, Role Play.
The fuck is Role Play?
What the fuck is Role Play? Don't know.
Did I come out this year?
I don't know. Maybe it got pushed. Maybe it got renamed. Mickey 17. Trigger Warning. That's a Jessica Alba Netflix movie, and it's like another one, like Back in Action, I'm the greatest hitman there is, something like that. And then Horoscope. I think I googled Horoscope, and I think that got turned into Tarot. It's not even the same thing, but when I googled Horoscope movie 2024, it came up with Tarot.
All right. Role Play. It says 2024, but I don't know if it says it's a documentary drama.
Oh.
College students confront sexual violence on their campus through a transformative theater process. This urgent coming of age story follows young people. There's no one famous in it.
Well, if it's a documentary, that makes sense.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the same thing. But if that's what it is, that it was a documentary.
Okay, well, maybe these will be bigger movies. First one I have on my list. Did you write down many of these, or did you just write down one?
I just picked one, baby.
Nice. Okay. Marty Supreme.
That's the one I picked.
Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck is Marty Supreme?
So when we did this list, I was looking at the stuff coming out this year, and then I wasn't sure if I couldn't remember if it was just like, oh, let's just look at the title, or if it's like, oh, let's go in there and just make sure that there's no information, because I wanted to be like, oh, there's no information on this movie like at all.
Oh, okay.
So like one was, I clicked on the Untitled Trey Parker Project. I was like, okay, like I'd be excited. What is that? But then I clicked on it and it kind of like tells you what the movie's about, and I was like, oh. Okay, it just doesn't have a title.
Okay.
So anyway, I skipped all that and I was like, let me just find a movie, and I don't know anything about it. So Marty Supreme was the one I picked.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I could see from the 2 seconds I looked at it is like, it's a sports movie. That's all I know about it.
Okay, sports movie.
But it's directed by Benny Safdie, who did Good Times.
Okay.
The Safdie brothers did Good Times. Yeah. And it stars Timothée Chalamet and I think some other people, but I've forgotten. So what would Marty Supreme be about?
If it's a sports movie, but knowing those guys, it would be he was, from little league all the way through high school, he was the best baseball player. The best home runs, running score, everything. But he got hurt. He got into drugs. He got someone pregnant or whatever, and he lost his scholarship. And he couldn't go to the big leagues. But like his nickname was Marty Supreme for his Supreme Gordita that he got at Taco Bell all the time.
I knew we were going to go Taco Bell.
and then he's working at a hot dog store, and everyone's like, "Hey, aren't you Marty Supreme?" Like, yeah, in another life I was, and I don't know. That's all I got.
I like it. It's a pretty good pitch. Yeah.
Wasn't there a movie about like a guy who misses it, like a pitch, and he goes to a fortune teller or something? Like, I wonder what would my life be if I just would have hit that, or if I would have made that home run. And does that sound familiar to you at all? I thought it was Bill Murray, but maybe I'm...
I don't know.
Anyhow.
Let's see. So the Safdies have kind of done more crime drama stuff. I'm going to say Marty Supreme is actually... Timothy Chalamet is like a big sports guy. And like you said, maybe he was like... He tried out for basketball or whatever when he was, younger. He was... I guess he's still kind of a young actor. I'm going to say, actually, he has a connect to the sports world. So you're going to see Timothy Chalamet like interact with like actual like athletes.
Okay.
But in this movie, he's just like, his thing is he's able to like get signatures, or like he's going to steal like game worn jerseys, or maybe it's like, oh, my holy grail is like, oh, I'm gonna get Michael Jordan's sneakers that are in his house that I can sell on the black market. Like, he's just like a real sleazy, it's like uncut gems but with like sports memorabilia kind of thing. And so it's just like his world, like it's gonna show the world of like sports stuff and selling that, and like maybe he'll make replicas, and he's like, oh, that's Marty Supreme, he'll get you the good the good sports gear, but turns out he's just been like, maybe his like connect is dried up, he made too many enemies because he's spending all this money to have this like grand life to showcase like, oh, what a great sports guy I am, or
maybe he's faking some of the stuff.
And it's all just him trying to like stay on top, but really his life is crumbling around him. And then he gets beat up by Dennis Rodman or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, both plausible.
Yeah.
Next one I have is The Smashing Machine.
And you have no idea who's like directing that, or
I don't know anything about
The Smashing Machine. I'm gonna say that is the Lou Ferrigno story.
It does sound like it could be a sports thing,
It's like his
like bodybuilding,
his start, and how he got the Hulk role.
Okay.
And it's gonna be the Lou Ferrigno biopic, The Smashing Machine.
Okay. I think it's
because they can't use Hulk in the title.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a typical hitman sort of thing, like a Killer Game or whatever that came out with Batista or whatever. Like, we got to get this job done.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can't take this guy out. He's taken out all of our guys. Oh, call the Smashing Machine. No one can stop him. Something like that.
Yeah. Or it's like a National Lampoon's Van Wilder kind of thing, where it's just like, oh, I'm the Smashing Machine. It's actually like this really hunky hot guy in college, and he's just like running through chicks, and they call him the Smashing Machine because this dude smashes everything. But then he meets the girl who isn't willing to smash him. I guess they could be friends, but will these friends fall in love? We'll see.
Yeah, okay.
But then it turns out she's actually smashed even more. She's the Smashing Machine. That's the twist in the end. And he's like, how could you sleep with this many guys? And she's like, how could you sleep with this many women? You think you're better than me? Yeah. And then they fall in love and they smash each other to pieces.
They do it in a moving car and get into a car accident, and they're dead.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one I have is Kinda Pregnant.
Oh.
Kinda Pregnant.
Interesting.
Like,
clear. It sounds like a comedy title.
It does. And it's like, what does that mean? You're kind of pregnant. Like, it's the early stages. Like, or, okay, so a girl is going to try to baby trap some dude. But he's been using condoms and things like that, so she's been using the condoms to get herself pregnant, but she doesn't know if it's working or not, because maybe she has to do it the next day. Does the sperm survive in there over a night? And so after every night she thinks like, I'm kind of pregnant, like I got the goods going, but I don't know if it actually took. So
yeah, Schrodinger's box or cat, right? Yeah, of like, am I pregnant or am I not pregnant?
Yeah.
They both could be true.
yeah.
I'm gonna say she knows she's not pregnant, but
She's faking it.
she's faking it in order to like, oh, she sleeps with this guy and she likes him, but we as the audience know like he kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But she has such low self-esteem that she's like, oh, recently we've been having problems and now he's about to leave me. Hey, I'm pregnant. It's like, so now she's forcing this guy who like doesn't really care for her. And it's like, so now she has to like pretend to be pregnant throughout the movie, and she has to like stuff her belly or whatever, and like has oh look, I'm showing, honey.
Mm-hmm.
And so to keep it, so like she's trying to change him and trying to like, how can we, maybe if we just stay together for a little bit longer, it'll work out, and then I can say like, oh, I had a miscarriage or I got an abortion or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then turns out she actually is pregnant.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit. And then only then does she realize, I can't be with this guy. He's not going to stick around. Or maybe he's just like, no, you suck. Like, now that we're officially been dating for a couple months, I realize I hate your guts. I'm out of here. And then he just leaves. So now she's pregnant and officially alone until she meets the sweet boy next door who changes her life forever.
And maybe, like, she's been sleeping with other guys, so she doesn't know who the father is, but she's still trying to keep this guy on board, but it may not even be his kid. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of... If that movie does exist, then I think we're onto something.
Maybe. The Unbreakable Boy.
The secret sequel to Split,
where Samuel Jackson accidentally, like, he had a child with someone, but he got the inverse of his powers, where his bones don't break.
Oh, you're saying an additional child, because he did have a child in Unbreakable.
No, Samuel Jackson.
Oh, Samuel Jackson. I'm sorry. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Sorry.
He had a kid.
I thought you said Bruce Willis.
And it's like his bones don't break. And I know that's the powers of Bruce Willis, but yeah, I don't know.
Never mind.
Bad idea.
We just take the title and
Unbreakable Boy.
I mean, Unbreakable Boy sounds like he would be the sidekick to...
He's a superhero, but I think it would be more of, like Baby's Day Out, where the kid gets into all these crazy situations.
Where that baby should die.
And the baby should absolutely be dead, but it just... but just keeps surviving. It would be like a slapstick comedy. The bookshelf falls over and the mom and dad are screaming, and then it just crawls out and does a little goo goo gaga, and whew! Or like Baby Herman at the beginning of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, when Roger Rabbit's they're filming the cartoon and he's trying to save them, and all the knives are flying and everything. That's the Unbreakable Boy.
Yeah, I mean, if there wasn't that Jack Quaid movie coming out where it's like he can't feel pain, I'd say oh, that'd be a good pitch for that title.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say The Unbreakable Boy is probably something like, I don't even know if this is a good comparison, but like Odd Life of Timothy Green, or like, what's that movie with with Tremblay where he's got the messed up face, and it's just like, it's one of those feel good movies about like maybe this kid got in a car accident, he's covered in scars, everyone at school is making fun of him,
but he's got such a personality,
but he's such
unbreakable.
He's such a sweet boy,
and his
like, they just keep shitting on him, and it's just this uplifting film about like perseverance through tragedy, and like, the power of positive attitude, and like now this kid is like making friends with the oddballs, or like, and there's that one kid who like didn't stick up for him in the beginning, but now he's like, don't bully my friend because he helped me do math homework or whatever, and it's just like, that's the Unbreakable Boy, Timmy Timerson.
One last one that I have for that one. Okay. So it's this young kid. He wants to work with the mob, a local gang. He thinks they're so fucking cool. And he's running errands for them. And then he realizes, oh shit, I'm in over my head. These guys are really bad. And they're going to hurt my family because I left the package of all the money at home, and my parents saw it and they bailed with it, or I told them to bail, and now they have me tied up and they're torturing me. And I know if I could just get through the next 6 hours of them torturing me and not breaking, my family will get away scot-free and they'll have all this money. And so it's just him trying to get through this time until he knows they're safe, and then he's able to break.
So it's a movie where a young boy gets tortured until
Yeah,
his
I mean,
parents
maybe
escape.
he's
It sounds
maybe he's not like
fucked up.
12 or anything, but he's the young upstart and they're older gangsters. You said it in the 50s or something.
Okay,
you know?
sure. Yeah, see, all right.
All right, last one, and then we're going to be done with this. We're pushing 2 hours. Like I said before we recorded, these are some of our longest. Hurry Up Tomorrow.
Ooh, I like this title.
Sounds like a boy waiting for Christmas, and he's so excited to get his Xbox and just hurry up tomorrow. But then tomorrow never comes because he's in a time loop and he's constantly like, my God, hurry up tomorrow. I'm sick of living this day.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a Groundhog's Day-esque plot title kind of thing.
Or it's a movie that takes place in one day. He's just got to get through this thing because he's going off to college tomorrow. But it's one of those wacky days where everything that could go wrong does.
Yeah. I like all of those. But I'm going to go a different route just to be different because I think those are the two easy pitches. Yeah. I'm going to say Hurry Up Tomorrow is kind of like Tomorrowland starring George Clooney and that girl.
Yeah. Just waiting for the future.
But yeah, it's going to be a hopeful movie about a young scientist who, or maybe not a young scientist, but like maybe it's a child, and it's just like, hey, I've noticed, my parents are always concerned and nervous. There's scientists, and there's talk of climate change and all these things like political unrest. Like the world seems so bad. I hurry up tomorrow because I think tomorrow there's an opportunity for a brighter day and like someone's going to find the cure for cancer. Tomorrow, someone is going to build something that ends world hunger. And it's just this boy's quest to like invest in himself and science and I'm pitching uplifting films because I need them. I'm so tired of like all my favorite movies this year were about like murderous psychopaths using God as like a tool for killing everyone or the devil or whatever. I need some joy in my life. So my pitch is a young scientist looks forward to the future and is hopefully tomorrow will bring about happy changes for humanity and furthering us into the future like we used to dream about before we all became cynical and said, oh no, we're all going to die in 10 years. So that's my pitch.
Sounds good. Whew. Did it, Steve. Another year in the books. Any broad predictions for 2025? Like, the first thing that comes to mind is it's going to be a very tumultuous 4 years. And I think it's always bread and circuses. That's how do you please the people? Bread and circuses. Keep them fed, keep them entertained. They don't get too bogged down with what's going on in the bigger picture. So I think there's going to be a lot of I hate the world we live in. Let's go to the movies. So I think 2025 is going to have some record-breaking movie box office, big numbers, whether it's, screens and stuff like that. I think it's going to be a big year money-wise. I don't know how good of a year it will be entertainment, but I think a lot of people are going to go back to the movies.
I hope so. Big prediction for 2025. I think 2025 will be a big year for video games.
Okay.
In terms of like, I think if I remember correctly, there's a lot of stuff coming out this year, video game wise. I think I could see, there's always been talks about like what will bring down movie theaters as like the thing for entertainment. And I've heard multiple people kind of go like, I think video games is the next frontier.
Sure.
I think 25 will be the year that, it really kind of goes that way, where there's like ton of big releases, tons of money being made.
I think we
tons
need
of
the
quality
boomers
stuff.
to die
Uh,
before that happens because, like,
I'm not saying movies are going to go anywhere.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know
but
this is mostly a movie podcast, but
no, but I think like for video games to kind of take over, there has to be like it's inaccessible to a lot of older people,
Mhm.
so they're still in the demographic. We have to have a whole bunch of people kind of go away because everyone now and younger, they're all growing up with video games,
Yeah,
and I think the industry will still stay the same as long as they're still buying movies, but once they're gone and that money dips,
sure.
video games will come up. So I think we're a few years away from that, but I
Fair
think
enough.
a year of really good releases is a good
Yeah,
prediction.
I think 25 will be a great year for video games. A mm, a decent year for TV. I think there's some good stuff coming out.
Yeah.
I think this year will be bad for movies. Not in
Okay.
terms of like box office. Like you said, I think it's a good prediction that it will make money. My thing is I'm not sure how much actual good quality film like going down the list of
Sequel, remake,
I went
sequel,
to
remake.
2025 list of films and like scrolling through of the stuff that's like I've seen trailers for and announced like
Hmm.
I'm not, other than like Mickey 17 like I'm not like woo
Yeah.
like even Superman I'm gonna go see but it's watching that trailer I didn't go like I can't wait.
Yeah, but you're more over these types of movies
Yeah,
than
but
other
I'm
people.
just and you know maybe I'm the odd man out here, but going down the list and just like seeing titles for stuff and like you know there's no at least that I happen to catch. Like, there's no directors that like I'm. It's like I don't think Tarantino's got a movie coming out.
Yeah.
Nolan doesn't have a movie coming out. Spielberg
Eggers
doesn't have a movie.
doesn't. Yeah.
Eggers. I don't think that there's.
Osgood Perkins, who made Long Legs, has the monkey.
Yeah, but I don't think the monkey's gonna be
It may
good.
not do well, but I think it looks fun.
Uh, no, Scorsese. It's just like all the big directors. You're
Yeah.
like, whenever they like, when their name comes up, you're like, I bet that movie's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody
We
out
don't
there
have
doing.
much of that this year.
And then even if you're like, and in terms of sequels and reboots and remakes, that's always a consistent problem. But like the ones like Superman and Captain America and all that stuff, like I don't know. We'll have to see because I think it'll be interesting to see a trailer for Fantastic Four. Although
Yeah.
I don't care so much about
Hmm.
Fantastic Four, but if it has a great trailer, I might be interested in. But you know.
They've had so
Robert
many
Downey Jr.'s
chances.
Doctor Doom. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's a bad
Why is
choice.
my voice getting so high?
Because that means you're excited. All right. Well, if you want to give us your top 10 list, best, worst, most anticipated, least anticipated, hit us up at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, TikTok for now, may go away. But President Trump just said, hey, can you please stop? He's been having a fight with his girlfriend, Elon Musk. And so, he knows his followers are on it. So maybe TikTok's not going away.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You know that episode of Black
Blue
Mirror?
sky and threads.
I think it's the very first one where the guy fucks the pig on
Yes.
national television.
God, I wish that was us.
I would pay good money
I'd go into slavery for it.
to watch
I'd become an indentured servant.
Trump and Musk like fuck on live TV
Yeah.
just to like
No, they got to fuck a pig and then each other, and they take turns.
whatever's sloppier, you know. Just
Everyone gets a position in the spot.
and they all eat out of the same trough.
Yeah.
I just want like I don't know. I just think it'd be a good time.
Yeah. It would
In America.
It would be.
to
Yeah.
see a bunch of like people just lose their fucking minds.
If we can't get that, but see, the bad side of that is that the president that fucked a pig, he got really popular, and his approval rating went through the roof. And we don't want that. So we need to have more of Civil War ending.
Yeah, but instead of getting shot at the end, they're just like, we'll let you live. But you gotta fuck this dude on live TV and get fucked by him.
Yeah. Oh, God. God.
We can cut all this out at the end. I
don't know. I kind of love this, but so yeah, those are all the socials. I hope you had a good 2024. I know we did. Thanks for listening. If you listen, as always, I'm Ben,
And I'm Steve.
and keep consuming and fucking pigs.
You know that episode of Black
Blue
Mirror?
sky and threads.
I think it's the very first one where the guy fucks the pig on
Yes.
national television.
God, I wish that was us.